share it out for a little bit. Let's share it out. I don't know, where would I share it to? Who's that? And my son. Let's see. We can share it on Facebook. We should be able to share it everywhere because, this one app is hooked everywhere. Instagram. Share it on, where should I go? On Snapchat. So, today, there was a hearing on higher education. It was on higher education, but it really didn't matter. It was early this morning. And they were talking about the value of higher education. And I just want to talk about higher education, too. Because I want to look at all the people who look like me, who got them damn degrees. Then I want to look at the lack of outcomes across this nation. Because every state is a separate republic. It's like its own damn country. Because they don't have the right to control the narrative as to what you're entitled to. And that's just real. But they think that they do. Oh no, that's not real. Because quite frankly, what you get to do, and share some more. Share, share, and share, and share, and share. Let me see. Oh, it's support. It's something is paid off. No, not that one. This one. Because failure became the only option in America for African American children. And then, that letter grade of F is so real. F is so real. And then, not only that, there's this compliance kind of thing. And you hear them talking about it all the time. If he had only complied, I said, well, what is compliance? I'm confused. Because lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. But those animals don't comply. But when you're talking to a black man or a black woman, something different is happening. And I'm trying to understand the difference, but just understand, my mother has already passed. And so has my father. So for someone telling me what to do, and I'm saying, oh, but didn't you know that when I spend my money is spent just like your money. And when you selling that Epson printer, the business model, where you can do all of that, and it should be able to print. But for the longest time, I was trying to win it. Well, what was going on? I don't know how to translate that. What's a hello? And for the longest time, no one could print in my house. And I said, well, how does that work? You understand? Because I didn't understand how it worked. But it really doesn't matter. Because I made it very people aware that if I'm paying for something and it tells me it does something, well then God damn it, it better do it. That's what I can say. Which reminds me, I'm gonna have to pay for my Magic Jack number this year. Because it's been almost like 5 years since I've been here. But I've had that Magic number for a long time. And then just know that the plan is the plan. What is the plan? Oh, shit. I thought y'all knew. Did you hear the Republican Party making all those excuses as to what was going on and when it was going on and how they just did? And I'm saying, well, you are the people that was in charge. And you want to tell me you knew it was going on, but you couldn't change any of that? How unfortunate. Because we're all paying these things called taxes. Bing, bing, bing. And now we're realizing that we was only human capital. But what was more important to them were the streams, the songs the content that we would either create or whatever. Because now you understand how important content is. Because when they took R. Kelly, was it R. Kelly? It was him. It took him back to court. What they asked the judge is to have control over his whole entire, catalog. And the judge said no. There were 3 big-ass white men standing up there trying to get control of R. Kelly's whole music catalog because they felt that it was all constituted in this sexual abuse. I'm saying, well, what abuse was it? Because my understanding, it was more like a Diddy issue. He was a voyeur watching. And I said, oh, I didn't hear his participation. And he never testified. But these things did you not know that gossip is just a sin? Well, shit. It was one of those things in the Bible. Thou shalt not gossip, And gossip is all these people do. And except for that, except for that one person that just recently, he wasn't gossiping. He was just spreading lies. Because what he felt, well, I'm sorry he felt that way. But no one's going to tell me what I can and cannot do in America. This is the real world. And as my mother has already passed on to the far beyond. And then you got to hear all these people calling in on, you know, Washington Journal. Everybody should watch C-SPAN. And they took it off all those restrictions because, you know, they're telling you now can get on there and C-SPAN WJ in the morning on Facebook. Hello, hello. And uh, C-SPAN Washington Journal is on, what, X? Yeah, it is. And Instagram and all of that. And then you could just post your responses. But the real deal is to get America in the conversation. And so many people feel that they don't have an obligation to have any of the conversation. This is tonic water. It's good for leg cramps. It really is. Mm-hmm. And when you talk too much, you might get them cramps, and that's just real. So I drink the tonic water. But I'm living in Las Vegas, and it's 102. I did not think it was going to be 102 today. I thought it was going to be the lower temperature is supposed to be coming because it's supposed to be raining on Thursday. Thursday is supposed to be rain. Mm-hmm. And I'm just saying, in America, this is America. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do, but let someone tell you what you can't do. And I promise you, once somebody said, is it good for shoulder pain? It's not good for shoulder pain. CBD is. I promise you that. Because it's CBD, it's a derivative of the marijuana. And you know, it is what it is. Sparkling water. No, it's good for cramps. It has quinine in it. And you know, quinine releases the muscles some kind of way and gets the air that's trapped out of your leg cramps in the middle of the night. Yeah, it's just real. But you know, recently I've been told that I have rheumatoid arthritis, and you know, it was Kaiser Permanente that misdiagnosed me, but I'm gonna take care of it. That's real. A diagnosis is a diagnosis because it's based on what your disability rating was, and they gave me a rating that was untrue. Quite frankly, I qualified for PERS and had already vested in the system, and I'm entitled, and I'm going to get mine one day. Well, thank you for coming, and I'm so happy that this is your first time here, but guess what? I do have a podcast. It is called Parent Empowerment Half an Hour. It's over there on Spotify, and it should have been empowering so many people. But, you know, here in Nevada's going through some transition, but I do want to let everyone know that all of the states are going to be going through this thing called transition. Everybody should have been paying attention to, what am I saying, January 6th. And, you know, as you know, the president he corrected that situation. He said those were just political people and they should not be in prison. Well, I don't know what happened when those Democrats got unalived up there, but the president didn't come to their whatchamacallit. Now this young man who's been, unfortunately, miseducated, because that's what he was, because he could say what he believes all day long, but he don't believe nothing from me, because I am who I am, and I'm always going to be who I am. And to ensure adequacy for my children, I was there every day. And believe me, zero tolerance was what those people thought that they had. But I gave my son a cell phone, and that's why, oh no, I'm not the one. Because I taught my son how to use the cell phone. I told him where to go in the bathroom to make a phone call to his mother so she could be there within the nick of time. Because they were always doing something, violating my son's personal space. And you didn't know you had a right to personal space, but you do. And then what else you have a right to is to transition out of a frustrating situation. But I'm just trying to understand because I seen something. And see, they're attacking special education because they don't want to provide these services for these people that they have undereducated and they locked up in the penitentiary. And it's not a color thing anymore. No, it has to do with resources. And if you're living in the right part of town or somebody gave you a break, hell, you don't have to even have a high school diploma. Know that. All you have to do is have the right circle. And circles are everything. So, anyways, I heard the conversation this morning, and the government's going to shut down for the first time in a long time because the Republican Party, they thought they had this shit all worked out. It was worked out, boo. I mean, they had it. They finally have won the war between the North and the South, and they said, "Get googly doggly, we done won the White House." And so they had the White House, they had the Department of Justice, and they had the Senate and the House of Representatives. I mean, they're just controlling everything. That's why he's on signing those executive pieces of paper saying this is it. But guess what? It may be it for you. But no one has the right to take my freedom of speech away. I mean, I have a right to speak on whatever, and a right to free thought, and a right to, my device is working because you sold it to me. You said, oh, it's going to do ABC. And when it was not doing ABC, I had a problem with it not doing the ABC. Because pimping ain't, what is that? What is going on? Because I've asked the state of Nevada, and I'm so happy Joan Ebert's sitting up there in the House because, she was over it all, but she had to get down in the weeds to understand what was really going on. But I came in, I saw what was going on. I'm saying, oh, I'm sorry. Did you understand? See, you thinking local control means that you are appointed and that you get to make a difference for the people who live in your area. No, it don't got nothing to do with that because the Department of Education already wrote regulatory guidance for all of the states, and I do mean all of the states, and what they're supposed to be doing. They figured if they gave a safety net to the bottom, then everybody would be able to float to the top, but that's not it, because they decided that that was too much for you. And so when they ran out of money, they didn't give a fuck. You just didn't get shit. So we have all these people who ain't got shit and who can't read and then brag about how they got their out of high school, but they didn't get a high school diploma. But Obama changed that because he said CTE, whatever that is, has to do with training, critical training, whatever, skills-based training. And I'm saying, I'm working with a set of teens, twins, two of them, in high school, and they're already beyond high school graduation rate, but they need to be working on getting that placement. You know what I'm saying? For the transitional work ability piece, because you do have the right to have it before you graduate out of high school. But if you ain't trying to get it, I'm confused. I'm so confused because you need to stand on what you understand you have a right to have. And if you ain't standing on it, what can I say? And so many people who look like me ain't getting shit. Is it ready?
Yeah, I think it's working.
Let me go. Let me come and look at it real quick. I'll be right back. Mm-hmm.
I'll be right or down.
How long did you say right here? I'm coming right back. I made some enchiladas for dinner. That's what I did. And so that was my youngest son coming to tell me that the enchiladas were done. And they were. So I'm just trying to understand. Because there are so many black people in leadership living in Las Vegas. That's right. And so much money coming through Las Vegas because we don't understand that we are the harvest and nothing more. I mean, but when the concept of them bringing the Oakland Raiders here, stripping Oakland of the Raider Nation, and then bringing the Oakland A's here to Vegas, stripping Oakland of what? The Oakland A's. Leaving what for Oakland to, and what kind of jobs there, what was going on? Bringing no more source of revenue. Now, Nevada has it all. But for the people who look like me, the system has failed the children. And therefore, the Donald to say he's shutting down all the special education grants, and I say, well, Mississippi, goddamn, I want to see that happen. Because I know one thing, when he starts touching those resources that those mothers have managed to carve out in they put their children in schools for children that are in the spectrum and disabled. And that's special money. Pay those damn teachers, and those teachers are getting paid. But I want to see how that's going to continue, because pimping ain't easy, but understand, people have figured out how to use the system. And I think the system just has to change, because quite frankly, we're not going to sit back and wait anymore, because we understand it's entertainment that sells. But all those people in the entertainment field that are doing what? Selling entertainment. That's just entertainment. And it is what it is. But so many people have been positioned to participate in the oversight and the accountability. And there ain't no fucking oversight. Ain't no damn accountability. Hell, how many 3-year-olds were ready to be enrolled in Early Start in 2024? Because that was a Biden-Harris initiative, that all 3-year-olds would be enrolled in a public education system in the year of 2024. So when I looked at Nevada, trying to understand where that data was, well, and now they're saying they have a need for 7,000 early kinder seats. 7,000. Or 4,000 seats for children with disabilities or children in foster care. And I'm saying, you see, when you have a state intervention, the state intervened in your family relationship and didn't support your family, but then took you as a harvest, so to speak, you know. And now you're sitting up here waiting for what? Services that you're not getting, and enough is enough. Because this is America. So all of you people sitting on your rumples, you know what I'm saying, who feel that you've done everything you needed to do to ensure that adequacy happened, understand that it is we the people. And what does we the people look like? What is the word democracy actually? Who can explain it? But if you can't break it down, then I'm sorry, it's not happening in the year of 2025. Understand, there is a cost to living. Freedom has never been free. But what will you do in the year of 2025? I say thanks for dropping in. Please check out my podcast, because I don't like to be marginalized. And I don't have a lot of time. But there's a lot of resources over there on Spotify. Parent Empowerment, half an hour. It will empower you to do things that you never even thought you could do. But know this is one nation under God. What will you do in the year of 2025? I say stay alive. Like, subscribe, share, and empower me. Y'all have a blessed day now.